Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV, and brought to you as always by our great friends at topsport.com.au. As usual, I am your host Nick Metallinos, and being that it is a Monday, we are also joined by old mate Benyam Kidane from NBA Australia. BK, what's happening, buddy?
It's good to be here, my man. Plenty of NBA action over the weekend. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm really, getting into the thick of this NBA season. A lot of storylines as usual. The NBA is a 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year news cycle. So we've got a lot to talk about, BK. Let's just go around the NBA to begin with just a few of the hot topics from yesterday and one from this morning. Actually, we had some breaking news this morning. Sacramento Kings have fired head coach Luke Walton. They've lost 7 out of the last 8, dropped to 6-11 on the season. BK, is this really a surprise, or it was just a long time coming?
Yeah, look, the writing was on the wall for a while for Luke Walton. What's surprising about this is why now? Why not in the summer? The problems they had today are the same problems they had yesterday. So it's a funny one to wait 20 games into the season to make a call like this. But again, that's a very Sacramento Kings move. So for them, they've not been good for a long time. They've missed the playoffs for 15 straight seasons. So I just don't really know where they go from here, what direction they're looking to go in, not just on the coaching front, but also just with their roster as well. They still have a lot of question marks about who is going to be the guy. Is it De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton? What are they going to do with Buddy Hield? There's just a lot going on in Sacramento at the moment.
Yeah, well, you bring up a very good point there in terms of the roster. I just feel like now with, kind of Luke Walton out of the way. I mean, look, the Sacramento Kings are going to Sacramento Kings their way through this season, as you said. But I just feel like now Luke Walton's gone. I've got a funny feeling maybe Alvin Gentry might step in as an interim, head coach. He's known for doing that. He's done that on a few squads. But this maybe could open up a trade for Ben Simmons now. I mean, he was rumored to be getting traded there earlier, I think it was this summer or earlier this season, in a deal for De'Aaron Fox. So maybe the Kings might look to make a move now and, that Walton's out and make sort of like try to kickstart their season. I don't know if it's going to help because that roster is just not very good. But do you think that maybe a move could happen?
I think it's a great point. I mean, if you're looking at making changes and bringing a new kind of environment in, starting with their head coach, then what the Kings have been doing over the last few seasons, they have accumulated some talented players, but it just hasn't quite seemed to work. I mean, Harrison Barnes having the best seasons of his career somehow in Sacramento was not something I expected. He's a guy that I think his salary could potentially be included in any trades, but if you're the Philadelphia 76ers and there's a deal on the table for any combination of De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, or even a Tyrese Halliburton, one of those three guys, or potentially even two of them, I think that's something they definitely should consider. I know they're holding out for that all-star level talent, but I think if you get a couple of nice young pieces that have all-star potential, that could probably be as good as it's going to get for Daryl Morey. So that could potentially definitely be a destination to keep your eye on when it comes to Ben Simmons.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. That is definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, let's go around the NBA, some of yesterday's games. BK, let's start with the Wizards and Miami. Split their back-to-back games that they played. Miami won one, Wizards win yesterday. Can we look at this Washington team now, BK, and are they legit? I mean, they're top of the East, right? So are they a legit team? Because I look at them and I think they're going to win some regular season games. Like, I feel like they're a legit regular season team at the moment. But once we get into the playoffs, right, I'm looking past Bradley Beal. And even though those guys are making contributions right now, I don't know, in a playoff series, if they're going to be able to step up and knock off a team like a Brooklyn or a Milwaukee or anyone like that. What do you see from Washington, BK?
Yeah, I think once the postseason arrives, all the defense and that attention goes to Bradley Beal. So there is a lot more pressure on these role players to step up. But so far from what I've seen from guys like Dinwiddie, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Gafford, they've just got guys up and down the roster that can kind of contribute on any given night. And I like the kind of cultural shift in DC. These guys look like they're having fun playing together, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot of ego on this team. They know Bradley Beal's the guy, and everyone else kind of knows what their role is on this team. And I think that's important, especially, considering the Wizards. I mean, they've made the playoffs in recent seasons, but haven't really done anything of note. So this could be the year that they maybe finish in a top 4 seed, and who knows from there. You still have a guy like Bradley Beal, who is an All NBA talent, and that could be enough to maybe win you a playoff series.
It could. Again, I'm not too convinced on that, just yet, but still a long way to go in the regular season. We'll see how that one goes. BK, we touched on this the other day when we spoke. The Milwaukee Bucks, they finally look like they're getting healthy again. 117-108 win over Orlando yesterday, 9-8 on the season. They've got the Magic, Pistons, Nuggets, and Pacers coming up. They look like they could go on a bit of a run. Giannis had 32 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists in 30 minutes yesterday. First player since 1959 to record those numbers in 35 minutes or less. Like I said, I think they're going to go on a bit of a run. Are you convinced on Milwaukee now being healthy and making a run?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't convinced by their slow start just because of what you mentioned. Middleton was out, Holiday was out, Lopez was out. These guys were walking wounded for the first couple of weeks of the season. So this is kind of the first time we've really seen the Milwaukee Bucks that we kind of expected this season. And like you said, Giannis has low-key maybe been one of the best players in the league this season. They just haven't been winning a bunch of games. But this kind of did feel like okay, maybe we're now going to kickstart things because Giannis is firing. They've got their guys back. This could be trouble for the rest of the Eastern Conference because the Bucks, they're just above 500 now, but they're coming.
Yeah, 100%. They look like they're really gathering momentum now. And like you said, it wasn't a case of like poor form or, anything else. It was just a case of like they didn't have bodies available. They didn't have guys healthy. They're starting to get them healthy now. I picked them to win the title. And if they stay healthy, I'm still sticking with that. Another guy I want to talk about real quick, and I believe you watched this game yesterday. I didn't actually watch the Celtics game, but Jason Tatum. 3 games in a row now with 30 points or more. He had a little bit of a shooting slump earlier in the season, BK. Did you watch this game and what did you see from it?
I did. And guess who's got their swagger bag? That's 3 straight 30-point games for Jason Tatum. And, the Celtics as well, they haven't been healthy. Jaylen Brown, he's been out, I think, for 8 games with that hamstring strain. So Tatum's kind of been sort of working his way through this funk. But what I kind of noticed, especially in that last 3 games against the Hawks, Lakers, and then against the Thunder, when Tatum's taking it to the rim, getting to the free throw line and shooting threes, and he kind of moves away from that mid-range jumper, he really is one of the best scorers in the league. I mean, I think he went 3 of 6 from mid-range yesterday, but in the previous 2 games, I think he barely took maybe 1 or 2 mid-range jumpers. So just the fact that, he's seeking contact, he's getting to the rim, that just opens up so much more of his game. And now that he's put together this 3-game run where he's kind of looked a lot more like himself, I think the Celtics could also be another team that's ready to launch. Jaylen Brown, he's expected back in the coming days as well.
We shall see what happens with Boston. Last game I want to touch on from yesterday, BK. The Knicks, my New York Knicks, had a win over Houston, 106-99. Wasn't really convincing though. And I look at a guy like Kemba Walker, who I'm a fan of Kemba Walker. And I'm not questioning the decision to sign him. I'm just kind of questioning the fit with him and Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Kemba relies a lot on sort of that explosive athleticism, and that seems to have gone. I mean, I believe it was an ankle injury he had a couple of years back or something like that.
I think he had a few ankles, the whole deal.
He had that deal. So it looks like that's affected him, and he seems to be more of just like a 3-point shooter these days. Like those drives to the bucket are not as evident. What do you think of that? Like, do you think that's a good fit with New York at the moment, the Kemba Walker that we see today?
I mean, I really like the signing in the summer, getting him after that buyout from OKC. But I think the problem the Knicks have at the moment is their 2 biggest acquisitions in Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker. They can't play them in the fourth quarter, which is, not ideal from that standpoint. They've been looking at Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks. These guys have all been really good late in games. And it starts defensively. Fournier and Walker is a terrible defensive backcourt. They're not slowing down anyone. They don't really have a bunch of size there. So it is good given the depth that they have in guys like Derrick Rose who can close out games. But when you're benching your two biggest offseason acquisitions for multiple fourth quarters, I think that is some cause for concern in terms of the, I guess, longevity of this unit when you're kind of looking ahead to the postseason. What happens come playoff time? Are these guys that you just can't have out on the floor? That kind of seems crazy to me. I'm still confident Tibbs will figure things out because his teams will be good defensively no matter what. But I think it is a little cause for concern. Do you think Kemba Walker is maybe better suited to a sixth man role? Is that something the Knicks look at?
You know what? I wouldn't mind if they tried that, to be perfectly honest. I like the way D Rose plays when he's in that, lineup. It's a tough one. Maybe give him a six-man role, maybe boost his confidence back up, bring him back into the starting lineup, see how he goes there. Let's see how that one goes. BK, I want to touch on something else as well. We sort of spoke about our MVP favorites again last week. I want to look at our championship predictions from the start of the season. Like I said, it's still early, but it's time to go back and see if maybe we want to revise those picks at all.
What's this, accountability?
I had picked Milwaukee to win it, and I'm actually still sticking with Milwaukee to win it if they stay healthy. But I look at the market, and the Lakers have drifted in the market out in the West. Obviously, they're not playing well, a lot of chemistry issues. The Warriors, unsurprisingly, have moved up in the market and now one of the heavy favorites to win it all. BK, I can't remember who you picked in the West, but I remember you picked Brooklyn to win the championship. Are you still sticking with that?
Yeah, I mean, I picked the Lakers to come out of the West. So that's not looking too good at the minute. But the Nets, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've kind of found a little bit of a rhythm, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that James Harden has found his rhythm. Patty Mills has been great off the bench for them as well. So I still like the Nets to figure things out. Even without Kyrie Irving, I still think this team has enough talent with KD and Harden. Whether I believe that about the Lakers, that's yet to be seen. LeBron's only been back for one game, and that obviously changes everything for them. Whatever chemistry issues you have, I feel like LeBron can kind of paper over a lot of those cracks, but he needs to be out on the floor for this to kind of work and for them to get their teething issues out of the way. I really thought this spell without him would be a good opportunity for Westbrook and Anthony Davis to kind of get some chemistry and build from there. But that really hasn't been the case. But they're still missing a lot of role players as well. There's guys on their bench that haven't played a ton this season. So it's going to be a long road for the Lakers, but you can't be too much longer because before you know, you're going to look up and it's going to be the All-Star break and you're under 500.
That's right. And then, you're playing behind the 8 ball from there, and it's going to be, I don't care how much talent you have on your roster, it's going to be tough. And you can't just switch it on. Not that roster anyway, because like you said, there's a lot of teething issues. The team that has no teething issues right now is the Phoenix Suns, BK. They've won 11 in a row, absolutely scorching hot. Only the Warriors with a 9-1 record over the last 10, on that sort of trajectory, I guess. Soft schedule kind of helped them a little bit, but, winning these games is the mark of a team that should be challenging for a championship. You win the games that you're supposed to, and then you try and win the games that you're not supposed to as well. They've got the Spurs coming up, a shorthanded Denver Nuggets, the Cavs, and they're playing the Knicks as well. So they could potentially go on a nice little, maybe 15-game winning streak here. Third best defense in the league. They're averaging 112 points during this little winning streak, which is second only to the Golden State Warriors. BK, are they and the Warriors the two clear-cut best teams in the Western Conference right now?
I think they have to be. The Suns, they've got that chip on their shoulder from last season, obviously making the finals. And then for the Warriors, I mean, I don't think anyone's playing better than Steph Curry at the moment, and maybe just the Warriors as a whole. Klay Thompson, we just got the news today that he's been cleared to return to practice, and Christmas Day is kind of looking, a lot more viable now. So they're only going to get stronger from here. But you got to give the Phoenix Suns a lot of credit to reel off 11 straight wins. I mean, I think the record was 17 in a row from the 2006-7 season. That's very much within reach. I think they had a 15-game win streak that season as well. And the games they have coming up are very winnable. So we could see the Suns go on a bit of a tear here, and build on what they've done here with this 11-game win streak. But right now it's for me in the Western Conference, just on form, it's Golden State and Phoenix. I've really enjoyed watching Steph Curry just fry up opposition defenses every night.
Well, the Suns have got, like we said, they've got the 4 easy-ish games coming up, and then post-Thanksgiving, they've got 3 tough contests in a 4-game stretch. They play the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors twice in the span of about 4 days. So we'll really see what they're kind of made of there. But I've mentioned this, previously. I thought last year that, it was the perfect storm that kind of enabled the Suns to make the NBA Finals. And I kind of look at that again this year. The West, now we didn't really expect Golden State to be as good as they are right now, but I feel like the West has really opened up. And this could be another shot for Chris Paul to make another NBA Finals. I just feel like it's really opening up really nicely for the Phoenix Suns. All right, BK, just before we head off, let's come and have a look at some games that we've got going on today. We've got the Lakers and the Pistons, which tips off in about an hour or so, give or take. The Lakers favorites here, $1.32. Pistons, $3.60. The line's at 8. Total is at 214, and that one's actually live on SBS Viceland. BK, the Lakers, they haven't been playing well. I don't know if they should be that strong a favorite against Detroit, but I will go Los Angeles Lakers in a close one.
The fact that we're umming and ahhing about this kind of tells you everything. But I still think the Lakers should win this game. This is a very, very winnable game. But shout out Cade Cunningham. He's been hooping the last 5-6 games.
He has been hooping, and the fact that we're saying they should win this game is it's concerning. It's concerning in itself. We've got also the Knicks and the Bulls. The Bulls favorites here, $1.46. Knicks, $2.82. The line's at 5.5. Total is at 212.5. BK, I think actually the Knicks are coming off a second night of a back-to-back. They've been slumping a little bit. I hate to do it, especially against the Bulls, but I think the Bulls win this one easily.
I think so too. The Bulls are rolling at the moment. DeMar, Zach, Lonzo Ball's been shooting the lights out, so I'm gonna go with the Bulls as well.
All right, next game up, we have the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. $1.29 Phoenix, like we said, scorching hot at the moment. Denver Nuggets short-handed, $3.85. The line's at 8, and the total is at 209.5. Like we've said, Suns scorching. I think they scorched their way to a 12th straight win.
Yeah, let's keep the streak alive. I'm not betting against the Suns.
No, definitely not right now anyway. And the final game from this afternoon is actually the Raptors and the Golden State Warriors. This is actually surprising to me. I mean, the Warriors are playing really, really well. They're $1.24 favorites. The Raptors at $4.40. That's interesting because they had a big win they dismantled the Kings. And look, fair enough, it is the Sacramento Kings, but the Toronto is not a pushover. This one's going to be an interesting game. Look, I think I'm going to go the Warriors in a close one.
Yeah, you know my thoughts on the Raptors. They're a trap team any night, but I think just the way that the Warriors are playing, they should come out of here with the win, and it should be a fun matchup between two of the high lottery picks in Scotty Barnes and Jonathan Kuminga as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Scotty Barnes has been balling all season. All right, BK, that's all we've got time for in today's episode. You're going to be back with us on Friday morning to talk hoops as usual. This has been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our good friends at topsport.com.au. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with all our content, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday morning.